Bun găsit, doamnelor și domnilor, suntem într-unul din studiourile televiziunii H, televiziunii Spiriu Haret. Avem o întâlnire frumoasă, o întâlnire cu colegi de academie, colegi universitari, din viața studențească și nu numai, care au venit la București pentru a învăța unii de la alții și a contribui împreună la realizarea unui program pe care îl avem și pe ecran, pe plasmă, se numește Espaq. Și am să vă spun exact ce înseamnă acest Espaq. Înseamnă Enhancing Students' Participation in Quality Assurance, dar e vorba de a asigura, deci, participarea studenților la nivel de calitate în viața academică. Pentru Armenia este programul respectiv dedicat și toți cei care vor fi aici în sală, care sunt oaspeții noștri timp de 2 zile la București, vor avea posibilitatea să spună pentru ce au venit, ce fac și care este fructul, care este produsul acestei activități lor. Welcome everybody in Espaq Haret University, and I am very pleased to have the opportunity to invite you and to ask you politely to be the guests at the same time as the teachers and also as the representative of students or universities to tell us here for our televiewers why you came here. But first of all, I should want you, when you start speaking, to introduce yourself. And I'm starting with you, please.
Hello, first of all, thank you for inviting us here. So my name is Sona Khachikan and I'm from National Polytechnical University of Armenia. I am from Student Council and I came here for enhancing student participation in quality assurance is the main thing that we all are collected here.
What do you mean by that, enhancing student participation in quality? Because the sound is very academic, and I'm a little afraid. I don't understand exactly, but I'm trying to be helped by you, by your explanation, and not only by you, but all the colleagues here.
So I will explain in my example. So it's an opportunity for me to make the level of education more higher for me and for my colleagues, for my course mates and classmates.
Thank you.
And for my university also.
That's very important because we know that one of the main themes of activity in the academic life, not only since the Bologna process, but also in our new way of seeing a new conception of education, of higher education, quality is important. Please, sir, be so kind and introduce yourself and tell us the reasons as everybody.
Hello, I'm David Scott. I come from Scotland and I work for...
Scott from Scotland.
Yes, I work for an organisation called Sparks, which stands for Student Partnerships in Quality Scotland. And that's a very long way of saying that our main role, we're funded by the Scottish Government through our funders and main funders, our main role is to support student engagement in the quality of their own learning and teaching within Scotland and beyond. A lot of the work we do is with universities and colleges in Scotland, and I think we are one of these partners because we have an expertise which we'll bring to this teamwork, where we will be leading one of the work packages as part of Espaq project to develop the training, to enhance this student voice, to enhance the student's voice in their enhancing, as we've just heard, their own learning and teaching.
As far as you know, the islands universities, the British universities, have a long experience in this field of activity, and of course you are ready to share.
Absolutely, yes.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Ella Karakulian from the National Center for Professional Education Quality Assurance Foundation, Armenia. Established in 2008, our organization strives to promote quality culture in Armenia through mandatory institutional accreditation and voluntary program accreditation. Students are an integral part of quality assurance and are part of our organization in many levels.
Our televiewers, and most of them are students, I think they are interested to know and to receive a short explanation, but anyway, an explanation of why was it necessary to improve in this part of Europe, of our continental world, which is Armenia, why was it necessary to crystallize this new exception, new point of view of approaching the education, higher education, the quality level? It's important. Wasn't it before? Didn't exist? I doubt. It was, of course, a quality level of education, of higher education in Armenia as well in Romania and in Bulgaria and any other parts of the world. But why was it necessary to upgrade?
Since recently, well, the system of quality assurance is being introduced, has been introduced in Armenia not long ago. It just had to be upgraded to a higher level, to a new level, the student engagement. Of course, it existed always, but this is just a new thing for us at this, in this format.
Okay, I understand. I can't let too much time to pass because I'm very highly interested to know what's your motivation, sir.
My motivation. My name is Simone Betti. I come from the University of Macerata in Italy, in the central part of Italy.
How old is your university, please?
Oh, very, very old.
Because I know Bologna is more than 1,000 years.
Right next, because it
You're
was
next
there
after.
at the end of the 13th century.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the second or third in the country. And as the University of
And
Macerata...
you have kept your tradition from century to century, and now the quality comes from behind to today's.
We started with law, of course,
Law.
back then in the 13th century, and right now we are mostly a humanistic, economic, and political sciences, other than law and education and cultural heritage and tourism. We do many things, not many of the, let's say, scientific part. We don't have medicine or engineering. But we deal a lot with the quality, especially with the quality from the inside and from the outside. And we are trying to coordinate this project. That's why we are here.
And also willing to share of your long centuries experience.
Yeah,
Yes.
long centuries experience, sometimes some high point in that quality, sometimes a lower point. And so we learn from the mistakes, and we kept going higher
We
and higher.
always learn from
and
mistakes.
that's the way we're going to help or try to help the others.
Thank you. I'm going to look for the hidden microphone over there. Who has it? Okay. And I should want you to be so kind to pass the microphone to the teacher, to the lady in the middle of the second row of chairs, and I want to ask you, please, why do you think it's necessary in the new vision of Bologna process, because we know in 1988 it was a turmoil in the whole academic life in Europe, and not only. Why do you think it's necessary that quality has to be reshaped?
Okay, so I suppose the quality of...
But first of all, who are you?
All right. So I am Eve Lewis, and I also am from Scotland. I work with Sparks. So for me, the quality of education across Europe is essential to the success of Europe, to our people and moving forward, and the prosperity of all the countries within Europe. And the young people within Europe all deserve the best quality education that they can have. And so the use of quality across borders to help that portability of education for people to be able to work across Europe and to be able to take their skills across Europe and develop them is really important. And for me, the voice of students in that is essential. So the more students are involved in shaping their education, then the better that will be across Europe, and the more we can learn from each other.
This preoccupation has been, let's say, adopted by your expat teachers across the Atlantic when they came to the new levels of education in the American universities, because I know that a lot of teachers from the islands are in the American universities. this approach of new quality and a new way of producing, let's say, income from academic life has been brought back to the home universities, new lessons?
I think we have a special approach to quality in Europe that is European, and that we...
That's my girl. Okay, thank you. Okay.
And it's about sharing and looking at an approach that we can all learn from each other and share. And for me, it's not about a commercial income. It is about increasing life chances for each and every student within all our universities. So, yeah.
Thank you. Let's turn here to the... Where is the microphone hidden?
Here.
Okay. Because you have it, you will also be so kind to tell us who you are, and also what's your vision of this program, which can be very interesting, not only for countries like those situated in this part of Europe, but also for some other universities, emerging universities. I heard, and you know, we have universities with more than several 100,000 students in different parts of the world. And not only, it's not necessary to have them as religious universities as in Pakistan or in other parts of the world, but in Arizona, for instance, we have 350,000 students university, only distance learning university. But how do you see? First of all, we want to know who you are.
I am from...
Is working, the microphone?
Is it working? I am from Armenia State Pedagogical University.
Your name?
My name is Cristina Tanajan, and I'm glad to be here and to participate in Espaq project. And this is the project that should let us to go forward hand in hand, because challenges for education are nowadays very many. So this project gives us opportunity to overcome some challenges and to get better education. That's why we are here, and I want to say thank you all partners for their contribution.
I should want one of your male colleagues from Armenia to explain us how this idea crystallized, appeared, how did it emerge to make this project for the Armenian universities' preoccupation for quality. Who is ready to help us, gentlemen?
Who is ready?
Please. It's very important to know exactly which was the starting point.
Got it. I'm Narses Gevorkian from Armenia State University of Economics. So I'm responsible for quality assurance in my university. And concerning the question how we start Espaq, it was long discussion around the issue of quality, what is quality and quality assurance
Between who
process.
and who?
Huh?
Longer
Between
discussion
our
between
colleagues from different universities
Back to Yerevan.
in Armenia.
Back to Yerevan, invited by you.
Now, before we have started this project, it was a conversation.
By the way, when did
we
it
met
start? When did it
many
start this
times.
When did you start this project?
Program, it's already more than 1 year.
1 year.
But before that, we started the process of quality assurance in all universities. And usually we had a meetings, and during the meetings, we start thinking about students' role in quality assurance. That was the problem. Because the old-style education, I mean, during the Soviet time, it was a different system.
Of course.
And it is
basically different.
Yeah. And because we are in the phase of reform, we started to think about new role of the student. And quality assurance process bring us to that issue, to discuss and decide, etc. And this project was really on time, because we can go step by step and decide all together what is role of the student in teaching process, in learning process, in assessment, and in every aspect of university life.
Ladies and gentlemen, till now, I have learned and we have heard the point of view of the academic stuff. I should want to hear somebody from the student stuff. I understand somebody here is, okay, you, you too. Is somebody from Brussels, I understand, from a Federation of Students? I should want to hear, let's say, as they say in law in Latin, audiatur et altera pars. Okay? Let's hear you. And first of all, who are you?
Yeah, I'm Stella Stancheva. I work as project manager at the European Students' Union Secretariat in Brussels. I'm not representative of the students' body itself. I'm more on the administrative part of the organization.
But you know the ideas
But
inside.
yeah, I know the reason for this project and how the partnership was shaped. I should say that before this project focused on Armenia, we had a very good other one with Sparks, also focused on quality assurance. So we brought our partnership and knowledge from the previous project to share it and further develop.
Which was the previous
Armenian.
project?
It was called Quest for Quality Assurance, and but it was mainly focused on European countries. Then, of course, with the National Association of the Students from Armenia, which are our partner, member organization of European Students' Union. We are working together and we know the issues and the needs of the students in Armenia. And as Professor Kevorkian mentioned, the need for transition and giving new role, important role of the students as participants, as a real stakeholder in the process. So it is really timely, and as you probably know, the ministerial conference that took place in May in Yerevan also paid high attention on the quality assurance in the higher education and turning it now
And it's paying
the
for
role
that?
of the students.
The ministry is paying for that? Because it's very important to declare, to know that you're very kindly interested by, but also, can you support it?
You know, okay, I'm not expert in
Of
quality
course, of course.
assurance, but as almost 20 years working for non-governmental organizations with various groups of people, I should say it's not always matter of money. It is the engagement and the innovation in the process, involving people, discussing with those stakeholders. On each step towards achieving the goal, you can find supporters that can also provide financial support, or you find other relevant initiatives like this one funded by TEMPUS program. There are many other ways to support, and I cannot obviously say about support from the ministries and how it will be exactly, but what we would also try to do with this project is by working together with the Ministry of Armenia to improve the process, improve strategically the attention and the way the quality assurance is done, maybe improve the procedure to be simpler, as we discussed today, because it looks a bit longer than it should be. So
My question had a
it is in
background.
progress, and we will see after 2-3 years what we will achieve.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we will, of course, provide some recommendations for improving the process.
I have to confess, my question had a background. I was asking that because when you go outside this building, here in Bucharest, in Rome, in London, in Paris, in Barcelona, in Hamburg, you have a problem faced by the graduates of universities. They don't have very easily the access to jobs. They are skilled, they are graduated, they know they have quality, they have been working hard, but not necessarily employers run to get them hired. This level of quality means that from this point of view, they have to be more competitive They have to be more interesting for those who can bring them in teams of work. So the background of my question was not only for the interest of financial support from the Ministry of Education in the country, but for the way of having the conscience by those graduates, actually now students, but future graduates and also masters and perhaps doctors, that they will have someday, and not when they have white hair like me, a place to work and to be paid at their value, for their value. Who can give me a point of view about this approach, please? It's an open question. Who knows it better, or perhaps is closer to this reality? You, ma'am? You? Let's try. Okay. 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 Say.
I can say something, not something, but just to understand the question. We are academics, and we are trying to teach students to be to prepare them for future life. I mean, for labor market. Two issues should be considered here to raise the employability of students. One is academic programs, how we can teach, raise the quality of teaching, not to give just knowledge, but also the skills and competencies for labor market. Given that complex of competencies, we can raise the employability of our graduates. The second issue is how to link labor market with universities, because the employer should understand the teaching process and the education to be more closer to universities. And for that reason, for example, in my university and among the, we have a consortium with other universities in Armenia to have a database for our graduates to bring it to open it for labor market. Also, they can choose the graduates from the database. And so I mentioned two issues. One is teaching. The second is bringing closer labor market to universities or vice versa.
Sure. In different part of Europe, it's already something notorious. It's very, very well established and working for decades, if not for a century, for more than a century. In different part of universities in Europe, in Western Europe, and not only, there are employers who can provide future places, working places, for those who are supported even from the age of being students. They have tuitions, fees, and different parts of support. But from this point of view, you know also that at least since the Second World War of the last century, the education is no more, at least higher education, is no more only one-way education. The situation changed completely. It's no more only from teachers to listeners, and they have to note, to make some exams and prepare themselves for being very good in theory, and also when they come to be useful, to discover that there is a gap between what they know and what is required. What do you think about that? Come on, make a point of view. No. Why not?
I'm mainly involved in the project coordination of finance and not really involved.
Take the microphone, please.
Ask me the question again.
Come on. I want to. First of all, what's your name?
My name is Nicola McIntosh, and I work for Sparks. Could you ask me the question again, please?
Yes, I wanted to ask you what's your point of view concerning this change, fundamental change of the direction of education, not only one-way education from teachers to students, and from also from the point of view of raising the quality by implicating more the students and the graduates in the research, the scientific research, is a very important problem today. Today, that means at least 80 years ago. How many universities have their plans and programs of production? How many Nobel Prizes winners are involved in university life, in academic life, and also in research? But I stop. Yes, ma'am.
My understanding is that if students are involved as co-creators of their curriculum, then they'll take more ownership for their learning. The learning will be more appropriate, they'll come out a better qualified student at the end of it and be more ready for the workforce. If they are, there's also a problem with dropout rates in education as well. So if the students are more involved and making learning suitable to them, then they're less likely to drop out of the course and see it through to the end and graduate with a good degree.
I see. I'm coming back to my colleagues here from the row of chairs, and I want to ask you, whoever wants to answer is free to do it. Do you think that we are facing, let's say, a situation which is not very positive in concerning a number of students today? Interest for higher education is the same as it was at a few decades ago. Are the younger generation interested to have the same level of changing upgrading their knowledge? It's a question.
Well, I think if I can speak from the Scottish experience, we've had a revolution in the schools as well. We've got a new programme called...
When was that?
2-3 years ago, and
yes.
It's still building up within the schools. It's not fully embedded. But the programme's Curriculum for Excellence, and it's basically about developing our school children from the age of 5 up to leaving school and going beyond to develop a lot of the skills we've been talking about today, which is not just about their subject skills, it's actually about what we would call in universities graduate attributes. So it's about developing independent learning, it's about developing their skills as good citizens, it's about taking, as Nicola just said, taking control of more of their life, and part of their life is their learning. And what we're seeing is that school children, certainly who are going through the Curriculum for Excellence programme, there is more of a likelihood that they will have those skills where they want to learn more independently, they want much more of a partnership between their university and themselves, they don't want that old didactic approach. I'm not saying all students are like that, but a lot more of them are coming in with that approach that they genuinely want that partnership. And I think part of this project certainly is to develop certainly those skills where students feel able and the structures are in place to enable them to get their opinion across, which again develops their citizenship, develops their skills, which makes them more employable, develops their graduate attributes. So I think it is a circle that's we're embarking upon.
So you have a lot of things to do, my dear friends, on a field like this in Armenia, where those items are all very well implemented, since the way of training, of preparing those who have to fight for the quality. And from this point of view, students like what they see in front of their eyes, in the amphitheaters, in the lecture rooms, in the libraries, on the TV, on the internet, or in the individual, because the tutorial situation has changed completely. Now the tendency is that very few number of students working with one teacher. Not only for the art, music, painting, ballet, or I don't know, but also for different other kind of specialities. How do you expect to match this provocation?
You know,
You, the younger generation.
it's a little bit complicated.
Why?
There is like one part of students who don't want to study, and
That's a contradiction. If you don't want to study, don't become a student.
yes, of course, but they have parents that the parents say, no, you have to go to study and you need the diploma and etc., etc. But of course, there is one part of students that really want to study and they need and they want to get high level education. So that you said that for example, 30 students is just one lecture. I want to say if that lecture is really good, so he really can work with.
How about 5 students to one teacher?
5 students.
How do you see, how it sounds to you? It's great. Okay, 30
Yes,
is,
it's
30 is all
great.
right.
It's also great, but when there are 5 students, the
Because we are
conversation
talking
is
about
less.
quality.
Yes,
You
but
talk
the
about quality.
conversation will be less. But when the students are a little bit more, I'm not saying about like 50 students or 100 students.
Let me be on the contrary with you. When you have 5 students to 1 teacher, the conversation is going to be higher because those 5 students will shoot from any position that teacher to tell them everything he knows.
Yes, but that 5 students must be excellent student for getting that kind of quality.
Okay. So that kind of quality, I want to ask that lady over there, what kind of quality do you expect from now in 10 years? Give her the microphone, please. But first of all, I want to know who you are.
I am Margaret Marocan from Armenia State University of Economics. I'm chief specialist at our quality assurance department. And now at our university there is an ongoing process of collecting students who will be students experts at our university and will be involved in our internal quality assurance processes. And we also have another experts group involved in our internal quality assurance processes, and we expect that in 10 years we will in this ongoing process, these ongoing processes will lead to higher level of quality at our university in program and institutional level.
Because everything we do here together, I mean not me, because I'm just asking questions, but everything you do when you come here in Bucharest or in Yerevan or another place, you do looking to the future. You have some plans, and you have to teach to reach some goals.
Yes.
Which is the goal, the most important you have to reach from this quality level and to see it implemented in a stable and good way?
As quality is the relevance with the vision and the goals. By saying quality, we mean that we will achieve our goals of the vision of our university, and as the university wants to become the most competitive university in the region, by saying we will achieve our quality and we will have higher quality in 10 years, we mean that we will be more competitive and our students will be more employable at the labor market.
Aren't you afraid, my dear friends, that we prepare from this point of view an elite instead of having a larger level of having quality for all the, not the mass students, for the students? Because when you come and discuss with, because this is the reverse of the question. I was asking what about 5 students to 1 teacher instead of 30 students to 1 teacher. But now, when you have this possibility of talking at a higher level, it means to restrict the area of communication and to prepare an elite is better or worse? How is it? Who can help me?
I don't think that we are creating elites. Just we want to improve the quality in education. But also I want to say we have don't forget that now a lot of technological changes are there. All that new technologies now we are using in education process.
So we need elite.
Yeah, but of course it doesn't matter now 5 students or 100. You can just via Skype you can how to say present some new topics or some new ideas, etc. Even for students it's very easy to use all these new technologies. And also we are changing, as my colleague mentioned, Soviet educational system was quite good quality, but now everything is changing, and also currently we are just moving from teacher-centered education, student-centered education. That's why in all our activities, teaching or when we are talking to our employers to develop new courses, etc., in all these let's say processes, in all these stages, students' involvement is very important. That's why we think when they are inside, when they are raising their voice, when they are suggesting something. That's I think it's some kind of raising the quality of education.
My dear friends, I saw with my own eyes, and I had liked it very much, in Netherlands, a meeting between a teacher and his students preparing their future exam. At the matter the teacher was teaching. And he said, guys, let's meet at the coffee shop of the university on Friday, 2 o'clock. You come with a piece of paper with the ideas you didn't understand from me by learning by yourselves from my course, and we shall have a conversation. And also, you will send me by mail your paperwork. I want to know exactly the way you can enter or not enter my exam, because it's necessary to have the basis. And this kind of conversation meant that students were mostly working alone. They were trying to understand. They had questions. If they had questions, they were taping, mailing to the teacher and say, "Sir, or lady, or Mrs., I couldn't understand that." It was not necessary to have a one-way conversation in the old style, but at the same time, the initiative of the student was fantastic. And that conversation of 2 hours of 6 or 7 students in front of a cup of coffee with the teacher was not a conversation that had to end at the end of the session of communication. They could continue if they had some new ideas, but at the same time changed completely the approach from the point of view of the student. Are you preparing this quality level by this kind of activity, which is wonderful, absolutely wonderful? Are you preparing this change in the mind of a student to let them fly free? To let them fly free. How do you see it? It's very important to know exactly that there's not somebody breathing just behind you all the time and pushing you and saying, you haven't read your 15 pages today. You haven't written those exercises. Just like in the high school, just like in the previous level of education. Who can help me to understand your point of view? Because this is a change, fundamental change, from Bologna point of view. I come back to this fixed idea I have. We had new approaches. How do you say it?
We had an example. We ran a conference this year, a very successful conference, and we had an example which we presented an award to, actually, from a new university. That's an old, what we would have called a polytechnic central institution, higher education college in Scotland, now a university. And in one of the modules of their psychology degree, the lecturer and the students, very similarly to what you described there, had worked on how they would design their own assessment. So they began to understand what are the criteria required, what are the criteria required to make a good assessment, and how would you assess that? And that changes the conversation between the lecturer and the students, and also builds the skills of the students to understand how assessments work, which helps them in their future learning. I think there's a lot of benefit from that.
And do you prepare the guys from this panel of Armenian universities for this attitude? Because that would be absolutely fantastic. Do you prepare them to be free of mind to approach the teaching process from a new point of view of the quality? I'm asking you. You are here to show that.
This project, first of all, I want to introduce myself.
Yes.
My name is Varazdat Hovanesyan. I am from National University of Architecture and Construction of Armenia. We are only university in Armenia providing higher education in architecture and construction in that field. But just I want to say about our project. Here we have a possibility for mobilities of our students. A lot of students will travel to different universities, partner universities. They will see what are they doing, what they are doing, and what kind of thinking their students have, you know, and in that case, something will change in their mind. First of all, you can, once, if you see something new, and then it's better for changing that when you all the time heard about that, you know.
You intend to invite Armenian students and different universities in Europe?
They will travel, yeah, they will travel.
To change,
it's envisaged by our project. Yeah.
My dear friends, I don't want to monopolize you. I like you very much, and I like very much the way you answer and you have the conversation. But I think that the best thing I can do now, just because you're not tired enough, but you have been very kind with me, I should want you to be so kind and to point out what you think is necessary to be said, and I had not the intelligence to ask it previously. So which of you needs to say something benefit, how should I say, profitable for anybody, please do it. Yeah.
My name is Meher Melikbakhshan. I am from Armenia. I am from the Pedagogical University of Armenia, and I am responsible for education process in our university.
You're the right man in the right place.
Yeah. And my point of view is that the academic staff must understand that they are working for students, and not the students are studying for academic staff or professors. And in that case, I think that this project is very useful for students to involve in that process and to say what they want, how they want to study.
Do they point this question to the students? What do you want?
Yes.
You do?
Yes,
you namely pointed?
Of course.
That's good. That's good. It's the first step.
Yes.
So, go on.
And that's all what I want to say. And it is very necessary. It's very, very necessary for students to understand that they are studying for themselves and to become a good specialist in their field.
Thank you. I want our Italian colleague to tell me, because she has a very long history behind, what could be the next approach and the next step after this quality approach in this program in the balance between different kind of universities and different parts of Europe?
Yes.
What do you think?
Maybe one of our objective is to train a quantity of students. Of course, we cannot train all students. So I think that the good is to make those students become change agent. That means that they could by themselves train other students. I think this is the power of the project.
And you intend to make it continuing?
What?
Just by to continue the power of this project by upgrading the preoccupation or the focusing?
Yes, because of course the project has a limited time. We have 3 years, but in 3 years we have a lot of activities to develop, but we have just a specific number of students that we can train and that we can work with. So just a few students will travel around and they will visit other universities, other countries, so they will become very specialized. But it's just maybe 20, 25. This is not enough. The good is that those students can become what I said, change agent. So they can become people that in future will train other students.
I have a poison question. Tell me, please, for how many students this program can be valid, can be efficient? I mean, how many, a number of students, a level of a university, of a nation, of a country, or several universities? What do you have in mind? Is it modular, or is it possible to be from 100 to 100,000? It's a good question.
I think it's setting us off on a journey. And I think I would agree with Laura. This project, if it does anything, is a catalyst. Something that Varazdad said as well with visits. It's a catalyst to potential cultural change, and so that more and more, it has to be sustainable. We cannot have a project which runs for 3 years and we train 50, 100, 200, 300 students, and then at the end of 3 years, boom, that's it, finished. There has to be some catalyst whereby this becomes embedded within institutions, within the culture of education, so that these things do continue.
All of you.
It's like an engine. We want to.
Yes. All of you, yes, like an engine.
It's like an engine, we are starting to move the car, and then our students and maybe their friends, teachers, they will go on.
And you see yourself as the gasoline?
One of.
Because it's necessary, the fuel.
Yeah, of course,
the fuel.
Of course. And also we have to change not only the mind of our students, but also ourselves. Yeah.
My dear friends, I thank you very much for your point of view. I know, and you know, and everybody knows who is involved in this kind of activities, life and education never end. That's important, and that's our goal, whenever we name it clearly or we just name it in our soul. I thank you very much for your participation in our conversation today. I don't want to abuse more of your kindness, but I think that, again, this is the last time. If you have something else to say about our conversation or about the subject we have discussed here, the floor is yours.